Hello everyone, welcome back to Kirklees Guitar School. Today we're going to have a look at Go Your Own Way by Fleetwood Mac. This is a great tune. It's been going around my head all week, and I thought I'd share it with you guys because there's some really cool stuff in it. So before we get going, I just want to caveat this with there's a free 6-page PDF that you can download for free from either of the first two links in the description of this video. You can either go to our Facebook group, which is the first link in the description, join the group, go to the Files tab, and every tab and PDF I've ever done you can download there for free. If Facebook's not your thing, you can head to the second link in the description and join our email list where you get a weekly email every Saturday morning of all the tabs that week. I would recommend getting that for this because there's quite a lot in it. Now, if you haven't seen any of my lessons before, I always take the approach that I'm a guitar player on the gig and I try and lift all the cool bits. For this lesson, you've got in the PDF, you've got two different transcriptions. You've got an acoustic transcription. I say acoustic, it's all chords. And then we've got a electric guitar transcription. So if you use the chapters feature at the bottom of this video and get what you need. If you're on electric guitar, head to the electric guitar section. If you want a really good understanding of a song, watch it all the way through. So let's get into today's class. Here are the chords that we're going to use. Now, if you're a little bit wibbly wobbly with bar chords, you can substitute these for open chords if you want, like the F chord, for example, rather than doing the bar chord. You can play F major 7 if you want. C, just a regular C, D minor, and B flat. Salt and pepper to taste with that. Use whatever tools you've got available to you at the time. Now, for the acoustic part, this is going to change for the electric part. But the acoustic part, the strumming pattern for the whole thing is going to be good old down, down, up, up, down. So I'm going to play an F chord to start with because that's the first chord of the piece. If you want to follow along with F major 7, that's completely fine. And I'm going to do 2 downs, 2 ups, and a down. Down, down, up, up, down. Try that on an F chord for me. Down, down, up, up, down. Now the piece is going to start with 2 bars of this. Yes. It's going to start with 2 bars of F before the rest of the band come in and the first verse starts. When I'm teaching this here at the music school, I just let the band play those first 2 bars and I come in on the first beat of the verse, which is this bit here. So if you want to be super authentic, play 2 bars of F and then go into this. But to be honest, I find that students get the most mileage out of this song if they've got 2 bars to kind of acclimatise to the speed. Now, if you haven't studied with me before, these 4 dashes, when you see this in the sheet music that I make, it's just that rhythm repeated. When you see the 4 dashes, we're just going to keep the status quo. So you know we talked about the down, down, up, down. That's what we're going to play there. So I'm going to play 3 bars of F with that pattern, and then I'm going to go to C for a bar before it changes. So you've got, that's the loving you isn't the right thing to do. You see how I'm going F, now that C on electric guitars, it's a beat late. We'll get to that in the electric guitar section, but you'll hear that the drums do a drum fill on that C. Now you just play that C as normal, don't worry about splitting the pattern up. Get that under your fingers. Alternatively, that's the remainder of the verse underneath. So can you see how the top line is exactly the same as what we've just done, but then I've bolted an additional 4 bars onto the verse. So after we've played this C over here, we're going to go to the second line down here to that B flat, and we're going to play B flat. I'd like to double bar from a B flat. You can play it like that. You can play it like that. However you can get it, just do it. We're going to place B flat for 3 bars. And then we're going to go back to F. Now look at bar number 8. I'm looking over here at the bottom line over here. It starts and finishes with an F, and sometimes when I've taught this to people before, they're more inclined to kind of skip this F out by mistake. It feels a little bit weird starting and finishing on the same chord, but all I'd do is just make sure that you're really on it with knowing where exactly you are. Now, can you see these funny little brackets here and then at the very end? Those are called repeat markers. So what that means is all 8 of these bars, you're going to play the whole thing twice. Let me play all 8 bars for you, and all I want you to do is pause the video and practice that twice for me. So we've got F, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, B flat, 2, 3, 4, B flat, 2, 3, 4, last bar of B flat, and then we go to F, F, 2, 3. At that point, we go right back over here and play the whole thing again, and that's an entire verse. Now, this song for the rhythm players, I'm sort of put you in acoustic, under the moniker of acoustic, but if you're just playing the chords to this, this is one of 2 sections for the whole song. So whenever there's a verse or for the guitar solo, those 8 bars, that's what you're going to play on a loop. Then when you get to the chorus, we're going to go to a D minor chord, and that's the bit that everybody knows. You can go your own way, etc. We're still keeping the down, down, up strumming pattern, but we're going to do a bar of D minor. We're then going to go to B flat, and then C next. Now you've 2 options here. You can either go to a cowboy C, or if you're okay with your bar chords and you're working on that, take that B flat chord, move it up. You've got 2 bars of C. Now what's really interesting about this chorus, notice how we've got repeat markers either side, these funny little brackets, but it says over here times 3. So you're going to repeat those 4 bars 3 times. Now for pretty much every chorus up until the end of the song, you're always going to play 12 bars, 3 lots of 4, 3 repeats in that chorus. Now it's a clever little kind of songwriting trick to give you a subliminal kind of prod, because it's an odd number of repeats, and it kind of you're expecting another chorus and it doesn't come. Now that does change at the end, but I want you to be for the first 2 choruses, I want you to make sure that you're only doing 3 repeats there. That's really important. Now you'll see on electric guitar in a second when I get round to that D minor, I'm playing the whole tune with bar chords, and I'll play the D minor up here. Either's fine. If you're kind of sort of 12 to 24 months into playing guitar, do the cowboy one for me. If you're here for a challenge, put that fella in up there. Either's fine. So we've talked about the strumming pattern. We've talked about the verses. The verse and the solo for the rhythm players is exactly the same. The verse, that's the extended verse into a chorus. Now you're going to go verse, chorus. In fact, I've got the PDF here. Go to the links in the description and download this. It won't cost you anything, and it's well worth your time. So we've got verse, chorus, verse, chorus. Then at the start of page 2, we've got what's called the solo. The solo for you guys is just the verse. We're going to cover that in a second. That's that bit, which we're going to get down to in a second. And then we go into the very last chorus, solo 2 and chorus on page 2. So we've just come out of the solo. I'm now looking at the bar 35 of the second page, which is chorus, right up top here. Now can you see how we've changed the structure ever so slightly? So the chorus, we're now going to play 4 times, and then over the solo, we're going to play the same chords for the chorus, but we're going to play it 5 times. Sorry, I won't get my 4s and my 5s mixed up. And then at the bottom of the slide, can you see how we go back to the chorus and we're just going to go round and round and round and round it? What I'd like you to do, once you get to this part on bar 35, when I'm playing rhythm for this song, I've just checked out. And what I mean by that is, I'm not counting 4 repeats, 5 repeats, loop until it fades out. I just know it's going to be those 4 bars, round and round and round until the music peters out. Now if you're doing the solo, you need to know to play the chorus 4 times before you skip over to the but either's fine. what I would do if you're, we're going to get into the electric stuff in a second, but what I'd do is having an understanding rhythmically of how the song goes is really going to help you for the electric guitar stuff. So, have a go at that, that's the rhythm part. So we're going to talk about the electric guitar parts now. Now, how we're going to sort of build upon the rhythm parts that I discussed, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a load of cool bits on top of what we've already talked about, which kind of, there's a lot of guitars laid on top of each other in this song, and I'm going to try and give you all the sort of best bits for one master version, okay? Now, in the beginning of the song, we played that, didn't we? He's actually doing a palm muted part on the record a little bit further up the neck. So what we're going to do over here, we're going to play an F chord. Instead of playing this F here, we're going to play this one over here. So I've got fret 8 on the A, 10, 10, 10 on the G, the D, the G and the B. And I'm playing those middle 4 strings. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this in quavers. I'm going to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and I'm using my palm to mute the edge of the bridge here. But can you see here, here and here, there's these funny little accents. Now what that means is I'm going to take the palm mute off for those 3 notes and hit the strings just a little bit harder to give it this. It's almost very Summer of '69-esque. So I'm gonna play the first one as an accent. I'm gonna do 2 regular palm muted, 1 as an accent, 1 without, 1 as an accent, 2 without. Break it up into chunks. Let's do the first 3 of these notes. So I'm doing 1 accent and 2. Try that for me. So that's 1 accent, 2 regular ones. Here. Following that, we add another accent, 1 without. And then we put 1 more on the end. Sorry, that's not right. You've still got the plodding, jing, 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 but you're picking out. And can you see how I'm just like, I'm hitting those strings a bit harder. And for the accents, my hand's leaving the bridge of the guitar. So then, he does that for 2 bars and then we go into the verse. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. There we go. Now the verse is 3 bars of F and then 1 bar of C. But can you see over here, it does 2 extra Fs before it goes to the C. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep that chugging away, and then I'm going to do for the first 2 bars of that, first 2 beats of that last bar, I'm just going to catch the first 2 notes like I normally would in the previous bar. And then what I'm going to do really quickly, I'm going to take that F chord and I'm going to move it down to a C, same shape, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 5th fret, 5th fret. And I'm going to play 6 notes, but I'm going to go down, up, down, up, down, up. Now what you'll hear there is you'll hear the drums play a little drum fill that kind of matches that. Let me play the whole thing for you. You'll want to do 8 notes here, and it's not, it's 6. He plays the 2 notes, the first beat, 2 quavers on that F, and then you move down to the C. Now, if you want to use that as a bit of a grace period to get down to that C, be my guest, but it really makes a difference when you go to it that little bit later. Then the second half of the verse, we go to B flat just like we do for the acoustic part. So we're taking this C chord, we're moving down to the first, third frets on the middle 4 strings. We're keeping that pushing for 3 bars. Now notice how it doesn't spill over into that 4th bar on this slide, but we've got a bit of something else going on. Let's tackle this first. So we're going to B flat. just the same as we've done on that F chord. And then we go back up to F, and we're going to play two of those F chords. And I'm doing a down and an up there. I'm then going to take my pinky and I'm going to put it on the 11th fret of the B string to give you an F sus4, and I'm going to do another down and an up with that note on. So down and an up with an F. So we've got down, down, up, and then I take that pinky off and do a downstroke there. Da, 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 da. Down, down, up, down. So actually that does the regular strumming pattern, doesn't it? It's very Keith Richards kind of Rolling Stones-esque. Now if I glue all of that together, those are the previous two slides all glued together. So starting at the F, you've got F2, F2. I can't count that and play it at the same time. So we've got F, 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 C, B flat, show you that. Now while the other guitar's going underneath that's how we're starting to sort of create as layers. Now on a gig we'll normally have a keys player that'll be doing all the wafty stuff that the acoustic guitar would normally do, and then I can sort of bring the rock with the chuggy part. Get that bit under your fingers before we move on. If you're okay, the chorus is very, 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 very similar to what we're doing in the acoustic part. The only thing that's different is we're going to use bar chords instead of cowboy chords. So I'm going to play this D minor. We're still doing down, down, up, down strumming, but then we're going to go to B flat and do it there for a bar, and then C for 2 bars and do it there. So you've got... And we're going to do that 3 times. You can call it another day. Just the same. Now I'd opt to keep my distorted tone here. You know, so if I put my distortion back on, it just adds that sort of next level of texture. Because if you think about it, although I've been using quite a distorted tone for the chuggy bits, I've been doing a lot of palm muting, which means it's suppressed quite a lot compared to which kind of opens up a little bit. Now from that point you've basically got a verse, that's the verse and the chorus. We've then got some lead guitar parts to layer over the top. Now looking at the piece, again go and get the PDF for this, because we're going to start looking at the lead parts and it's going to be well worth your time. So we've done a verse twice, we've done a chorus 3 times, we're going to verse 2 twice, onto page 2, we're going into chorus 2, we play that 3 times, and then you've got the first of the 2 bits that I've labelled solo. So this could be described as a bridge, could be described as a middle 8. This is the, I won't go on the stand because you're all watching me. That's the next bit that we're going to get into. So I'm using the bridge pickup on the guitar. Now you'll notice how the first 3 bars we're not playing anything at all, and that's because the band are just going to chug on that F chord. By all means do that if you want, but to be honest, I think the most important thing for you to take away, and the lesson that I like in this song, is we actually rest on the first beat of the 4th bar, and it comes in on what we call the and of 1. So what that means is, if I were to count you in, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, da 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 da. So what that means is, you just need to wait a split second for half a beat before you move into this bit. What I do is I get some software where you can, on YouTube, and you can chop this bit out and practice not coming in here, because you're going to want to come in here, because we're all so used to coming in on beat 1, but actually coming in a quaver late. So what I'm going to do with my ring finger, I'm going to slide between the 3rd and 5th fret of the A string. I'm then going to play the 3rd fret of the D string with my index finger, and I'm then going to play the 5th fret with my ring finger again. So I'm doing a little pentatonic box there. Once I've played that 5th fret, I'm going to slide up to 7, and in the same motion, I'm not picking it again, I'm going to slide back, and then I'm going to play that 3rd fret. So if I was to pick it all, but I want it to be slippery. Lindsey Buckingham's playing it really slippery. And try not to catch that 4th fret, it sounds minging, doesn't it? Get that under your fingers. You can pull off to that 3, which I'm guilty of doing sometimes, but it's not actually what he's doing on the record. Pause the video and get that under your fingers. Now you'll notice that it's missing a note, isn't it? It feels like it needs something else, and you would be right, because we've got this 1st fret, this B flat note over here. So you go and then what's going to happen is you're going to sit on this for a while, all the way until it starts again over here. And then what we're going to do, we're going to play that 3rd fret on the D string. It's very similar. It's 4 licks, but they're all kind of very similar to that first one. So I'm going to play that 3rd fret. I'm over here on the D string with a down and up. I'm then going to, with my ring finger, play the 5th fret, slide up to 7, and then do a position shift back down and walk back down it. You can sort of make that a little bit more legato if you want, and it is going to resolve back over here. Get that lick under your fingers. I keep sliding it when I'm not supposed to. And to finish that, you slide in. You see over here. Over here we're into lick number 3. Again, very similar. We're messing around in that sort of minor pentatonic notes all on one string, and he's got a lot of gain going on, so he's sort of leaning into the feedback a little bit. So I've got 5/5 and I slide into the 7, G G A. I do a position shift back down, 5th fret, 3rd fret, 3rd fret, 5. Back to that B flat like we did at the end of the first lick. And you hold on to that, and I put some vibrato on that. Really lean into it, and then you've got this nice little blues lick. 3/5, 3/5, 3. Let me play those back to back for you. So you've got. The crux of that is getting the timing right and making sure that you're starting in the right place. I've done this in bands before where the guitarists struggle to put it in the right place and it doesn't sound right. Always just start it just that little bit later than you're expecting. From that point, we're then going to play a chorus just as you normally would, 3 times. Now, in the acoustic portion of this is where I'd said just take that chorus and just run with it. For us it's a little bit different, because what you're going to do is you're going to play that chorus section 4 times, D minor, a B flat, C. You're going to play those 4 bars 4 times, then you're going to go into what's labelled on the tab as solo 2. So this is I'm at the very top of the 3rd page here, and this is the it's all this kind of stuff. So let's start breaking it down. That's the 3rd bar. So I'm down here in 3rd position and I'm starting with the ring finger, and I'm going to pick that D note on the 5th fret. I'm going to pick that twice. I'm then going to go 3rd fret to that C note and then back to the D. First 4 notes. With my index finger I'm going to catch that F note on the 3rd fret of the D string. And then I'm going back to the root and I'm going to pick that twice. Moving into the 2nd bar over here, can you see that's called a washing line? Well, I call them washing lines. It's called a tie. After you've played those last 2 notes of that bar, you're going to let that last note spill over into the next bar. Because it's in brackets, it means that you don't have to play it again. Okay? So the first bar, over here, we're going to hammer on between 3 and 5 on the A string twice. 3, 5, 3, 5. 3rd fret, back to that F note. 5th fret, first note of the 3rd bar. And we're going to do 2 short, sharp downstrokes on those 5th frets. And then I'm going to slide up and back to that 5th fret. And again, can you see how the tie comes in again? Let me play the first 3 bars. I always find with songs like this and really kind of strong melodies for lead guitar, it's a really good idea for you to sing the melody in your head. If you know the song well enough, it should help you with the rhythms. But we have got the rhythms underneath as well. To bookend this, to finish this little bit off, we're going to go to the 5th fret of the D string. I'm going to slide up to 7 and then back to that 3rd fret. And then okay, sorry, it's because I'm across 2 slides, I just got a bit disorientated there. So then over here, this is pretty much exactly the same, isn't it? Yeah, if we look at the first bar here and the 2nd bar, it's still there, just the same. And then we've even got the hammer-ons between 3 and 5, but instead of 2 this time, we've just got the 1 at the end. So you've got. So Lindsey's missing out that extra one there. Again, it's very similar to the first lick. So I'm doing a slide between 5 and 7, back to 5 on the D string. 3rd fret to the F note, and then back to that G. So let me play the first 3 bars. I kind of get the impression with this tune that solo he knew it was going to start. And he had a kind of rough roadmap, but every time he played it, it was a little bit different. And he just kind of he had sort of set points for the licks, and then improvised in between it. And I kind of I've transcribed it properly for the purposes of this lesson, but when I play this in bands, I will squeeze as much D minor pentatonic into it as I can, just to kind of blow off a little bit of steam. So, first 2 lines of the solo we've got. Sorry. Now I've seen Lindsey play this note here on the 8th fret, but to be honest it just doesn't sit right with me. I like thinking about this in sort of D minor pentatonic, position 1. So I've made a sort of artistic choice to give you this note here on the 12th fret. And we're going to bend the 12th fret of the G. And then we've got lots of them. Now in the room doesn't sound that great, but if we had the underneath it, now I want you to make sure you're bending every one of those, but the only thing I'd like you to spot is have a look over here. Can you see how we've only got, we do a bend in the previous slide over here, and to account for that he only does 3 in the first bar. This very first one of this section lasts for 2 beats, and then it's every beat after that for the remaining 2 bars that it does that. Now you can count this, to be honest. I'm thinking about the bars and I'm playing on the beat instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got to play 10 of those, for example. That might help you, and if it gets you through it, be my guest. But personally, I've known this song so well that I know that lick comes in here. So we're basically going to do a shed load of 12s all the way over here until we get to this last bar where we do the bend one more time, and then you do this cool little blues lick. Sorry. So I've got the very last bend, just as normal. Then while it's up there, I'm going to pick it again. You know how I say it's like letting air out of a balloon? You bend it, pick it, let it down. I've got 10th fret on the same string. Bend the string again on 12th. Take my pinky, catch the 13th fret of the B string. And then while that bend's still up there on the G, I'm going to let air out of it again. And then I'm going to play that 10th fret. Lovely little minor pentatonic lick. Pause and get that under your fingers if you need to. If you're okay, we go into this really cool little 3-note phrase that just repeats over and over again. Now, I just want to caveat this. On the record, he's doing this kind of... Sorry, wrong key. He's sort of playing a load of the strings at the same time because he's really going for it. Now, if I was to notate that, it'd look like a mess, and I don't think any of you'd get the nuance of it. So again, I've taken a little bit of license. I'm going to bend that 12 like we've been doing in the previous bar, but then it's almost like a bit of a Chuck Berry style lick. I'm going to bend that 12, and then this C note here on the 13th fret of the B string. For every time I bend one of those notes, I'm going to reciprocate it with two of those. And again, you're just going to go crazy on this. Doesn't sound like much in the room, but if you've got the harmony underneath, it makes a lot of sense. So you can see how there's a lot of notes here, but there's not really a lot going on. You've got the 12. Into. And I'd encourage you to play that quite messy because that's what he's doing on the record. And then, surprise, surprise, there's more bends. We're going to go up to the 13th fret of the B string. You've got 3 whole bars of that, followed by this nice little descending lick. I'm going to do a bend in the last bar one more time. I'm then going to let the bend down without letting air out of it. We don't want to hear it. You bend it, and then you play it just naturally, no bend. 10, 12, 10. Just walks down. First position of the D minor scale. From that point, you'll hear the vocals come back in for that chorus, and it loops to fade. Now, There are some extra little bits in this song. There's a lot of layers on top of each other, and the research that I've done around the guitar tone and how it was made, it kind of sounds like a lot of, it was a lot of like rack gear and, what's the best way to put it, like studio equipment that's giving it that flavour and that sound. Now, how I'm getting that tone, I'm using a tube screamer with the overdrive at 9 o'clock, so I've got quite a lot of overdrive on the tube screamer into the clean channel of the Princeton. Now, from the research that I've done on Lindsey Buckingham as a guitarist and his guitar tone, he played a Les Paul a lot in the Rumours kind of era, and then there's like a custom guitar builder, I forget the name. If you can remember, let me know in the comments what it's called. But he basically had a signature model made that I think it's in the 80s, and he's used that ever since. All of the Fleetwood Mac clips that I like the sound of, all the era of Rumours and things, he was playing a Les Paul to my knowledge. The SG, I've just been really enjoying playing it, so that's why I've used it today instead of my Les Paul. Overdrive and quite saturated actually. I normally say use overdrive as a thickener, but feel free to turn the gain up on this one a little bit, and it'll help you with those bar chords as well, kind of. I don't want to say mask any of your duff notes, that's not what I mean, but it'll kind of, it'll add to the cacophony of noise. My treble is on 5, my bass is on 7, my reverb's on 3, and I've got it on volume 2 with this little 11-watt Princeton. I've pretty much played everything exclusively on the bridge pickup, which is quite warm on this guitar, and then I've got the tone at 12 o'clock and the level at 12 o'clock on the tube screamer as well. So I'm playing with quite a lot of gusto as well. You know, I'm playing quite heavy-handed because that's how I tend to play. If you're a little bit softer and not as kind of vocal, for lack of a better term, when you're playing the guitar, account for that in your pedals, a little bit more volume. So, it was a little bit more of a deep dive was this song. I normally don't go as deep into them, but I couldn't not. It's such a classic and it's got to be done properly. So, if you've got any recommendations for songs, let me know in the comments or anything you'd like me to do a deep dive on. Don't forget, first 2 links in the description, either on the Facebook group or the email list. You can get this for free, and I would recommend it. There's a lot of nuance in this, and those of you that are doing loops and improvising, this is a fantastic platform to be able to do that. I posted a clip on the Facebook group earlier of this, and I couldn't help myself. As I got to the end of the solo, I just sort of give it some, and it was a good time. I enjoyed it. Anyway, I will leave you for today's electric guitar lesson. I will see you next Friday for the next one. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon.